Yeah, Junkertown is where you're going to sense it now.
It's a faraway sense, yeah.
Thought it was a little bit stronger. Now, it's coming, it's getting there.
It's that direction.
Yeah.
So
it's in the right direction. That's towards the end of the series, but Hurricane, they've got to get through 1 point now, and they've only got a 1-0 scoreline, so 1 point can tie up the series here if they can just take Hanamura away, and then it leaves it all open for a Junkertown finale.
Oh, they draw here.
Oh, don't be doing this to me.
And we go 1-0 into Junkertown.
What a sight to behold. It's on the line, potentially. You can draw assault maps. Hurricane going to be on the defense first. 1 point.
Hyped.
I don't know if they're going to commit to the composition they currently got. Polly may stick around the Sombra, but I think they're just going to go for a quick scout and then maybe go for a relocate back to spawn, change it over, and go into comp.
Yeah. It's obviously with Hammond and Sombra brought into the mix now, it gives a lot of scouting potential to the teams. I like what I'm seeing here. A lot of teams so far have ran out onto control maps and just picked Moira into Zen Goats and not actually went back to switch. So I like that we are seeing this from 1 point.
Immediately going to clash with Numlock, charge into Shield Bash, and Polly is punished for that when he's lying on his back, of course. It's just open to attack, and British Hurricane going to hold down this first defense quite handedly.
Yeah, that was very impressive, very quick. And that's the problem with you. You shield bash a Ryan, yeah, it's sure it gives more time for your Ryan to go for maybe a charge or swing into him whilst he's on the floor, but it really exposes your Brigitte. She has less armor, obviously a lot less HP than Reinhardt as well as, which just opens her up, and it just makes it so easy for people to just aggress onto her. So now, 1 point, they've got to go back, start again, go for the next fight. Obviously, British Hurricane, they've got some ultimate charge in the bank now as well.
Nice boot there to get into unfavorable position. Chubbs is isolated, so damn it, it's just an easy pick off for this guy. And yet again, 1 point going to have to reset. They don't have a Reinhardt. And look at this, they've got an isolated Eng who I think he chose poorly there in his actions.
That was a poor choice from himself. Yeah, British Hurricane now, though, they've got pretty much every single ult on the board.
Yeah, getting close to it. Pretty much there, just Numlock needs to catch up, and then he'll be able to have his Earth Shatter available as soon as close to the grab as well. 1 point, only have a Transcendence to their name. Polly's getting close to the rally, but a couple more offenses, they might get it. It's just a game of attrition. They may lose the battle blank, but they intend to win the war. Yeah,
the whole one. The attrition is the key here, but Scalar, their main defensive ultimate, is now gone.
And Numlock's going to go for 2. Will he find 3? No, soon he's going to clear up Polly. And did get a D-Mech on Happy Cool, so that might pose some problems for Hurricane if they're fast with the reset. And that's exactly what Tech wants to do now. And Dan is going to send him on his way with a flail.
Yeah, nice 10% ultimate charge as well. Let's give me that right there. Thank you.
I'll be having that.
Yeah, now there is a little bit of armor on Bucket, a bit of armor on Sooner as well. That's for the next 30 seconds since that new patch actually stopped Rally from sticking around for bloody forever. Now, 1 point, they have all their ultimates ready to go. 5 ultimates on the side of British Hurricane. Sooner taking out Scalar early means you shouldn't commit to this.
But they're going to go anyway, Blank. Sound Barrier, they're going to get away from Hurricane as well as the Graviton Surge just to seal the deal. It's a clean wipe, so I think that might actually be a win for 1 point. The only thing they've burnt is time.
That is actually a win, you know? I didn't think going aggressive was the correct thing to do, but that's in the situation if they commit to the fight. But they didn't. They did what they intended to do on Hanamura on that last point of a defense where they had ultimates available to them, but they blew them first. And let's get a mind game there. They run in and Hurricane's like, oh, they've got to commit everything. And they drop down like half their ultimate set. And now at 1 point, they can come in with 5 ultimates ready to go.
Good restraint being shown by 1 point. They can use that sound barrier aggressively. Shatter from Numlock hoping to shut it all down as he's isolated. Bomb's going to try and clear and slow down the tempo from out from 1 point. It's not successful. Transcend is going to be committed this time around by Scalar. They've not managed to capitalize on the ult advantage they built for themselves. Graviton Surge being committed by Yikid. They're all tied at this tight corner. Self-destruct there from Tech. They need to remove the shield. Boop is good. And it's going to be Tech 3-6 to clear out Yofi and Danid. So 1 point should be able to take this one away. They just need a little bit of faster clearance to get Hurricane away from this point.
There was a long, scrappy fight from 1 point. They should have won that a lot earlier. Having to invest 5 ultimates into a fight where they're down so much more than you is a big win for British Hurricane. It means the snowball cannot be massive coming into point B, which is such a problem for other teams so far. Hurricane, they do have that grab, but more importantly, they have the May. They're going to hopefully to choke off 1 point as every single area of aggression onto point B is 100% wallable. So it's very difficult to get through. And now Tech36 gets a mail of his own. And actually, if you vertically wall a specific route to get into the point, you can't wall it if you're the defending team. So we might actually see that here.
Tech36,
yep,
making the adaptation there. You're not going to be able to get that wall in. So instead, they're going to go and pull it up on the high ground, I imagine, as they're going to be able to pass through as a cohesive unit and not get separated by the division skills of Mei. Going to be thrown down with the rally. There's Happy Cool, who's going to block out the shatter from Chubbs quite nicely. They're going to throw in their own wall to protect from the damage, but they can't get this angle on Happy Cool, who's just spamming right clicks away. Bok is going to pick up Chubbs. Transcendent's already committed by Scalar. The wall's just going to separate the healing, wants to keep it away from Hurricane, as it was just expiring from Scalar. But I think Hurricane have got control of this one, despite some creative play from OnePoint.
Yeah, Scalar's still going though. Tech36 in the back will finally be frozen up and removed. Eng's like, I have a place to be, and Yofi says, no, you don't.
Look at
right
the time.
Here with me.
Best be off.
Best be off, lads. Getting a bit late, actually. 1 point. I'll come back to this one. They have the sound barrier. British Hurricane, they have the Shadow. And to be honest with you, this entire game, Numlock has been consistently outplaying Chubbs. The shadows coming out from Numlock and the shadows blocked from Numlock just as equally so have been really changing the flow of this game.
And again, they're going to make sure they get this wall nice and early to stop that division. Going to move around and got to wait for the cooldown. I'm going to drop that nice and early. Eng's caught out here by Bocket. They're going to use that wall just to separate out Chubbs. But he's by himself. Danid actually isolates himself for Chubbs to then kill, which is ironic considering the setup they just had. Numlock's got that Earth Shadow. Happy Cool still able to just get this free damage on the rest of the team. And 1 point can't seem to find an answer for Happy Cool.
It's a wonderfully irking boop from Jofi all the time. Just knocking them off the side to the low ground where the mini lies. It means that there's no follow-up when Chubbs finally gets aggressed upon. So
yeah,
poor lad has been out in the rain a lot of times.
Jofi being true to his word.
Yeah, I'm going to bully this Ryan, absolutely. Now Hurricane, they've got a lot to work with. 1 minute 38 remaining, and not a lot of time for 1 point.
Nice and early. Doesn't catch them off or divide them, but it does mean that they don't have the wall to stop them from going contesting the high ground where Happy Cool has been this entire round.
What a block!
Gonna block out
Good job,
that
Happy.
Shatter. Well, it's Happy Cool blocking the own Shatter. Then going to commit the Snow Globe to the fight, and they're still going to get control. So slight misplay there from Hurricane, but they're able to recover nice and early. You're in stitches. Why?
Because Happy does the BM wall into the BM wall on his own Reinhardt. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, this is not okay.
Come on, brother.
Come on, brother. This is not what we talked about in scrims and practice.
It was interesting that 1 point identified that and go, no, we can try and take this fight on the high ground now that wall is down.
Yeah, they also disengage quickly.
Yes.
And I think that's one thing that 1 point are doing very well is they're very conservative with their own ult bank. In comes the wall. There it is. They're going to do the same thing. I'm not sure if this is insanity at this point, though. Taking the high ground, they do have ultimates to work with this time, so there is something a little bit different. And Tech36 is like, wow, I'm very low.
He's just having to bob and weave. And now that they kind of baited Hurricane onto the low ground, they wanted to make sure that Happy was away. Going to commit that Transcendence and Graviton Surge nice and early. The Snow Globe being used to try and shut down Hurricane. But nice wall from Happy protects the rest of his team in lieu of a barrier. And they're going to use that to actually to his advantage. Tech isolates part of that team to try and get some progress on the board. The wall's going to drop down. They have to move around and start committing to this one. Earth Shatter by Chubbs presses into Numlock. Wants to remove him. Damage removes Scalar already. And Suno, who switched over to the Widowmaker, going to get some work done. Bocket picks up Chubbs. And in overtime, Hurricane are going to lock it down for 1 point.
1-6. Well, basically half
50%.
Half a point taken there. It's not quite a 1 point, but it is half a point. That's what they needed to ensure that they don't get a draw if they come to point B. So Hurricane now can complete this. They get 1.5 points. 49.5. I was proven right. I'm sorry, guys. My eyes are not great. So that's why I wear glasses. That's why I can't identify that 0.5% that was missing.
That's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. Not a great analyst at the end of the day.
Moving. Going to switch things around now. Have British Hurricane on their offense. And not a stretch to meet 50% on point B with the allotted time bank, assuming you can get that first capture in. You just see what 1 point decide to go for here on their defense, and whether we'll see a Mei battle again on point B if it gets that far. You want Orisa Bastion?
I wouldn't be surprised if you pull out Orisa Bastion here.
Where do you set up?
Well, that's the thing. You either set up on the high ground or you set up on the point. It depends what they play. If they play the goats, you set up on the high ground. If they play DPS, to set up on the point. It's all about denying the ability of where people go. But they're not playing that. They're going to be playing the free, so we can talk more about that. And it looks like it will be a mirror with British Hurricane playing the Mei instead of.
Going for the free freeze.
Going for the free freeze, boys. We're removing Snoats. It's now free freeze. Let's go.
It depends on which archetype of naming convention you want to fall into.
It's true, yeah. We'll go for the free freeze just this once.
So
just for you.
Going conventional, as you'd expect with this one. I want to try and lock this down at the gate and not have any shenanigans of point B occur. Hurricane getting very close to running Happy Call on the Mei on the offense, and I think they're going to commit to it initially. They may change off once they decide how it goes.
May change off. I saw that.
It wasn't intentional. It was just the way it worked out, mate.
I see. Yeah, they're going to go for this. And I expect in this play,
that's very good.
You're able
blocks
to get into
them off, and they move into that corridor because now they want to go upstairs, take the pathing with relative safety across this walkway, and drop down immediately onto point and use this passive cover.
Yeah, we're going to go for the shock type.
Oh, wait on a minute. No, they're going to mix it up. They're going to isolate members of the team. The wall wasn't the most successful thing in the world, and they already lost Numlocked. I don't know if you commit to this one. They get a couple of picks, but it's all gone a bit Pete Tong for Hurricane.
I think Numlocked just jumped off. I'm going to need the replay on that one, to be honest with you, because I'm pretty sure that Numlocked did just jump off.
Let's just jump right into it.
That was really strange. Bring up the clip, Jamie. Come on.
Jamie, pull that up.
I genuinely think that he did just jump off. I'm just like, okay, guys, we're going. But 1 point now, they're going to have the Shatter on board. Like I said earlier, Chuz being definitely outplayed by Numlocked so far, so not expecting to see too much out the Shatter coming onto this point. Let's see if Chubbs can prove me wrong. Hurricane, however, they're just building up ultimates.
Oh, that's a bit of a debate. I think they messed up the wall there, and they're going to move through the point here and try and contest them directly. Chubb's already found soon, and Numlocked with the charge on the Polly, and Scaly's been punishing for it, still going in favor of 1 point. And if Hurricane are fast with their resets, they might be able to go ahead and get something done here, but they're still committing to this one.
Are they winning?
They're going to throw out the snow globe, and Yofi's going to get the melee kill onto Scalar. He's going to chop him and move over to the point here. The wall's going to try and isolate off Yickits, who's by himself. Hurricane had no right winning that fight.
It's the free freeze, mate. You just knock out the first free. It's just you just have 3 members from Hurricane. It's fine. Add some hailstones to that Hurricane itself. Make it a blizzard. British Hurricane, they're doing a great job there, and it means that now second point hugely snowballable because they won a fight that they shouldn't have won. That's not a fight for them. No.
Well, they've got the Nerf Shatter, the Rally, and a Transcendence, and you've got the Self-Destruct from Tech 36 and Transcendence for Scalar. So there are options available for both teams. The big ones coming out, obviously, the Graviton Surge from Sooner is nearly back in action, and all support ultimates are now online for Hurricane. And Hafiko's in the exact same spot he was on defense. He's going to be able to play it off here, trying to divide off any cover with that wall. Self-Destruct goes up high. He can just hide behind the post here. No one else should be caught out by that one. Transcendence is being traded on point as they're going to clash and try and keep Numlocked alive and moving forward. Needs to build up towards that ultimate, but Chubbs is the one you need to be careful now. He's got that Earth Shadow, going to drop it down. Nice block with the Ice Block to keep Happy Call up, and they're going to try and fight him with that Graviton Surge. Bucket takes out Chubbs. Yickits are going to bring back with the double. Sooner and Numlocked being dropped down. I don't think this is going to be the fight to win, but this might be another Hurricane fight where they throw out a Snow Globe and suddenly win. They have to kill Yickits, deny that high energy. They've still got a couple of members on the point, but they're turning it around. The 3 members of Hurricane might be able to get it out here. Chubb's going to move in straight to a wall. They should be able to lock him up nice and easily. It's a Mei. It's a Brigitte. It's almost unfair for Numlocked as he's going to move on. For Chubbs, he moves onto the point. They're going to get the Wrecking Ball out as expected. Eng's moving onto the Symmetra as well, just to get him onto the point. They're trying to deny coverage with the Mei wall, but they still managed to weave through the cracks and get out here to contest. Not 1/3 taken yet by British Hurricane, so if they can be cancelled out by 1 point, they can reset all the progress. They finally got over that checkpoint, but they're cleaning house. Hurricane going to take the series.
It's a crucial mistake from Tech 36 towards the beginning of that fight, actually. What he did made a lot of sense because Scalar and Yickits both frozen up, and in that situation, you want to block the icicle that goes onto Scalar to kill him. You absolutely need to keep the Senyara in the fight for that Transcendence to make sure you remain in there with that 300 HPS, which is massive at getting as a re-engage tool. So he uses the Diva Matrix because he's a little bit too far away to block the icicle. I don't know if you get in the way of it or just let Scalar die. But immediately after Diva Matrix goes off, Hafikul identifies that as a fellow Diva player, and he just whacks out the Blizzard, easiest Blizzard of his life, mate, and then just takes down everyone else. Hafikul played excellently on this Mei, this entire map. Well played to him. Hafikul seems to be coming up big with a lot of these plays so far.
There's not a lot of heroes that he can't play.
No,
and
yeah, he plays everything.
Still showing up, flexing his muscles on these heroes. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to bring you map number 4, and it's going to be Junkertown. Welcome back to Overwatch Contenders for our final map of the week. It's Junkertown. British Hurricane already secured their series win against OnePoint by taking Hanamura. 2-0 scoreline so far. They're looking to make it 3-0. And OnePoint, they want to get a map win on the board. They don't want to come away from this empty-handed.
No, but the problem is I do believe that OnePoint is a bit more favoured towards being this 3-3 team. Unfortunately, I think Hurricane is far better suited to playing these DPS compositions, which are so strong. Come point A, incredibly good at holding for a good 4 minutes, which really does not set you up well for the rest of the map, despite Junkertown point B and point C being very, very snowballable. Once you get that ball rolling, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger until you take out point C itself. So it's going to be all about the defense for British Hurricane here. What they pull out, can they pull out something akin to a 4-minute hold, or can they just full hold it? 1Point, I don't have, like I said, I don't think they have the tools available to them to stop that kind of play.
It's going to be interesting to see what does come out here. We're not going to see Sparker from Hurricane. Still sticking with Sooner.
Damn it.
So Sparker,
we're
going to have to wait around on this one. And we'll be able to potentially see him some more next week. I know he's being held like a precious dove, only released on certain days.
And then recaptured.
It's like they put him in the. It's like when you put that coin in the vending machine. It's on a string, and then you pull it back out after you're done with it.
Yeah, sad times.
Can't do that anymore. Everything's contactless.
Yeah, well, we're not living in the dark ages anymore, mate. Come on.
Sorry, it's before your time.
It was before my time, bloody hell. How old are you?
No, 3 years older than you.
Fishing out coins, eh?
Well, 1Point. Eyeing up potentially to go for the Bastion. Going to switch back over to the Brigitte, and they want to run into this GOATS head-to-head matchup. And they're not going to go through the main door. They're going to go through the side.
Numlock holding super close. We saw a similar thing yesterday. Just burns the time off the clock at the beginning because there's no way people can get through. Just because you have so much sustain. Happycool has gone down early though, so that DM no longer available to deny a lot of that damage. We're already 30 seconds off the clock, and it does ensure you another setup just before the 2 boxes on this point.
1Point, they're sliding in the DMs, and the only message says, we're taking control of the payload. We're going to start moving it. It's a reject from Hurricane. They don't want to see that.
So get back. None of that from you. 1Point now, a lot of the way towards their own ultimate British Hurricane. Much of the same, however, it was a very scrappy fight to begin with. 3 minutes though, and they're only just pushing underneath bridge. But it looks like 1Point, they are setting up above boxes, which gives not many good sightlines to play with now for British Hurricane.
Well, the advantage of holding so close to the door is that you can get those multiple fights in. So 3 minutes under this bridge. It's a nice position here for Hurricane to try and contest because it is so claustrophobic for 1Point to try and move around. And they've got a shadow online for Chubbs. Graviton Surge going to pull them together. Wants to get the charge. Nice isolating Danid, and Yickens has already taken out Numlock. They won't have to commit much more to the fight than that Graviton to win it. And they still got 5 in the bag to secure points A. It's probably going to be one more fight coming out from Hurricane.
Yeah, Hurricane can get back. Obviously, Yofi dying last is pretty good for them. It means he can speed pretty much the entirety of the team back on. But it is very close. It's a very early grab here.
Okay. Going to go in hyper-aggressive from Hurricane.
They have to touch,
it's
though.
paying off for them. They take out Eng and Yickens. So that's a greedy charge coming out from Yickens, who wanted to get that early energy. Been punished by Hurricane by what started off as a questionable grab.
Sooner does not mess around one bit. I mean, at one point, like, we're going to hold aggressively, and Sooner's like, no, you're not. Drops down the Graviton, ends the push there. 1 minute 48 remaining. Half the time bank is gone. 1Point coming back from this one with the Transcendence and the Rally, so they have a bit of that pushing power, that pushing presence. British Hurricane, they want to prevent this rotation.
Yickens is a bit like Icarus. He flew too close to the Sooner. Going to send that self-destruct over the top. Happycool takes out Scalar. Polly then going to answer with Buckets. No Zenyatta's on the board. Self-destruct having to be commit, not finding anything else here. As Numlock's going to play behind shield, as is the rest of the team. Sooner finds Eng. Polly just going to hold that shield behind hand. Going 50% HP. Has to deal with Happycool, but Happycool's going to deal with him instead. Going to send Chubbs flying.
You do not walk towards Sooner.
15 left on the clock. Sooner's got another grab. Run for your life, Yickens. Just going to be burned down. It's unbelievable. It's like those traditions or those hot knife videos on YouTube. They're just cutting through everything right now.
Yeah, like a hot knife that's been heated up by a flamethrower through butter. Like, this is next level stuff. Sooner he just does not mess. It's like if you give him an inch, he'll take a mile from you.
Going to move back around onto this one. They got the Transcendence, but it's going to be matched by Hurricane. No difference as soon as got that grab, and it's already at quite high energy. It's going to be not hard for him to get back there. Just a protected barrier should do the trick. Getting the 40 charge from that one. Going to hold on from the swing, getting close to it. Nearly there, but now Yickens going to level it out with a grab of his own. Potentially going to get that one out. Those 30 seconds remaining. Squeaky bum time for 1Point here. This could be disastrous if they cannot get the completion on point A. If we much sealed the deal for Hurricane. You need to find something and find it now. Trying to keep everyone back with the sound waves to move him out of position. Hafficool goes for the 180 after dropping in the DM, potentially looking for that early grab. Transcendence being used early by 1Point. The counter grab comes out. It could be big. Spock's going to use his own self-destruct over the top. Everyone has to cover behind the terrain. Not going to get it. Big shadow coming in from Chubb shuts down the initiation on the Graviton Surge. So the sound barriers are going to be there to level things out at equal time. Fight still relatively balanced. Yikit's going to get taken out by Hafficool. They've lost all their sources of damage right now. The rest of 1Point is just going to falter here. This is pretty much a full hold coming in from British Hurricane, and Suna has no problem with a charging Chubbs. He's going to laser him down, give him a fist to the back of the head, seal the deal. Hurricane end 1Point's push.
Suna looks straight out like a hitman from Katakyo. This guy is huge right now. He does not miss a beat, miss a single mortar. You do not run into him. Like, you do not come near him without a shield. And he did a great job there. He saw that Tech 36 was eating a lot of his grabs in the beginning, and he could see that he was checking him out from the corner of his eye, making sure he knew exactly when he was going to use the grab, use the Diva Matrix. And I think British Hurricane played that perfectly. Know that 1Point, they're low on resources. All they have is the Shatter, they've got the Graviton, and they waited for the perfect opportunity from Suna. He drops down the grab as the Shatter comes through. Sound Barrier comes out moments later, gives them that massive re-engage pressure. At 1Point, just crumble underneath the hydraulic press that is Hurricane.
We'll have to find out by speaking to a couple of the staff afterwards, but imagine, in my head, you take Suna out, and if you're Nox, you've got your coaching staff with you, you've got Renegade, who was recently announced as well. You sit down with Suna and you say, look, here's what's happening. In that map, he didn't play, and you send him back in with the new information you've realized about how Tech is playing and how Tech is getting this advantage off to him, and he can come in and make those adaptations. That's one of the advantages of having those substitute players and the large coaching team.
Yeah, it's fairly interesting. I think the problem is that you as a coach, you only hear comms. Yeah. You don't get to see the game.
You don't get to see the POV, but you can watch the stream.
Yeah.
With the delay, obviously.
You're still 3 minutes behind, so.
Yeah. But it'd be interesting if you can feed that insight, or maybe it's just stuff that he's forgotten in the prep.
It's true. It is true. It's a valid point. British Hurricane now coming out on something a little bit fun. They've got Hafficool on the Bastion. I like this. It works very similar to the quad tank approach on Gibraltar. You just whack out a Bastion on the high ground and just dissuade them from holding close.
Is that hero number 5 for Haffy this series? I think it is.
He is incredible. There is nothing he cannot play.
And Polly's now isolated in that cabin. They know exactly where he is. He's going to feed that information to the rest of his team. Just be mindful of him. And once they clear out this initial space, it gives him time to move onto the payload itself. But he has to be very conscious of any stragglers and going to turn into turret form. Polly, you need to take cover. Your shield's not going to last on that one, friend. This is going to be burned down, and the accuracy only builds with time since that change came down. Oh no, the big debate. Happy-cool. Immediate regret. I'm in danger. Chuckles to himself as he gets eradicated by Chubbs. And they're going to collapse in behind him, but it's going to be difficult for 1Point to continue this momentum as Dan is actually cleaning house against Chubbs and Aang and Numlock. Despite getting the drop on them, Hurricane managed to turn this one around, and Dan is very happy with himself. Drops a couple of tactical crouches.
And again, it's down to Suna. This guy, once he gets into position, he's absolutely fine. But Numlock, came in huge in that fight. The disengages from Hurricane are perfect, more than perfect, in fact.
Wait, hang on a minute.
It's a bumper play. Check your corners, boys. Look both ways.
They can't check the corners. They're going to drop right into this one. It's a killing field for Numlock. Oh, they spotted it out. Scalar knows it's coming. They forced him away. I want to know where Happy-Cool's set up for this one, because he's not on the payload. He's going to be staying further back. Transcendence comes out early from Scalar. The damage, Happy-Cool's actually off to the right. He's off screen at the moment. He's just right at the back. They're going to try and aggress onto him. They don't want to give him free fire line. Shatter out of range for Happy-Cool, but now he hasn't got a shield to protect him. He has to be very careful about what he does. Tech is going to clean out Numlock. He's got tank form available, but the rest of Hurricane are falling back. They have to reset this one.
Yeah, Happy-Cool just jumps off. I think he switches from the Bastion here over to the Diva now.
Nah, blast out the tank form. Blast it out, lad.
Tank form doesn't do too much against free because there's so much to deny. If he doesn't go over to the Diva, I will be very, very upset with him, because you have 2 minutes remaining. This is a potential win for 1Point.
He's staying on the Bastion, Blank. He's going to use the tank form.
I think this is a mistake.
You nearly got Suna's grab as well. You can get massive AoE off. Going to switch over to the tank form early. Already trying to get stunned up. Eng's taking Suna off the map. They're trying to stun up Chubbs. They're not going to break through the shield. They're still going to try and use this one. And Blank, you are correct. Not much being done here by Happy-Cool's tank form, but he still wanted to use it. Going to switch over to Sentry mode, and no one's going to really aggress that corner. They don't need to. 1 minute 30 remaining for Hurricane, and there's a couple of ults on the board for 1Point to deal with what comes next.
D.Va just does everything. She does everything better than Bastion in that situation. You've got a great beginning with the Bastion, but now it's just been taken too far. There's no pressure on Yikids with this next grab that comes up. There's no D.Va Matrix. He's already taken out Danhead. 1 minute remaining. This is not good.
Dire. Happy calls uncontested on the back line. Soon as found Yikids. They're going to drop the grab down on top of him. Numlock goes for the shatter. It's blocked out. Transcendence obviously being used. Self-destruct over the top. Numlock very low. They need to help him out. Tech 36 going to find Yofi, and Chubbs just swings through to take out Numlock. Happy's still off to the side for some reason. Raining bullets. Dan is going to switch over to Doomfist, then go back to the Brigitte. But Happy Cool, I agree with you, Blank, needs to be looking at changing off onto the D.Va at this point.
We see it finally. 50 seconds remaining, but still, Yikids done a great job, held on to that Graviton there. Last fight as well as British Hurricane poured a lot of resources in, only for Eng to get the God boop off the map. 30 seconds remaining. This is last fight now.
Just need to find that kill. Happy's going to eat up the grab from Yikids. That should seal the deal for Hurricane. They're going to use the Transcendence aggressively. Move forward here and give them that extra healing so they don't have to worry about the grab damage coming through. Going to drop down the ult onto Numlock. He's going to be not killed yet. But the Transcendence comes out in return. 1Point might have done enough here. It's going to clear out Pocket as well. That's them taking control. They will take away a map from Hurricane. The final scoreline, 2-1.
10 seconds remaining. There's still potential for Yofi to make it back, but you can see that Tech 36 is looking to boot him back.
They've got to kill him. No touch available. Someone has to charge in. Numlock might expose himself. Going to have the ball come in. Danhead on the wrecking ball will trigger the overtime, but this is going to be so drip-fed. I don't see a way Hurricane get back into this one, especially with the grab from Yikids. Just launches it, keeps Happy Cool and the rest of the team away from the point. Can't re-trigger the overtime, and they sealed the deal. 2-1 in favor of Hurricane, but the map difference, only a -1 for 1Point.
Yeah, and you've only got to look at the stonemason there. It's not it's the 100 blows into the rock, but it's the 101st blow that breaks it, and it's just Happy on that Bastion for far too long, and the slow stem of just ultimates being wasted after fight after fight. I think that's just a crucial mistake, not switching off to the D.Va sooner. Sure, he does his job. He does his job. Good job, Happy. Nice eat towards the end there, showing us all up. But at the end of the day, I think they would have had far much more success if they had that D.Va Matrix pressure just a lot earlier in the fight.
Just a reminder of what happened on Hanamura. Of course, it was a Battle of Mays on point B when we got round to that one. Surprising to see Happy dedicate to that May on the offense as well when it came around to the second, their own offensive attempt, shall we say. But good clearance from British Hurricane. And what I like about Hurricane was they were very adaptive with the consumption. So when Happy Cool gets that eat off, they're very conscious and they're happy to blow that trans aggressively because they know they don't have to save it for that Graviton surge that comes out, and they try and play around that. They did the same on Junkertown. Didn't have the full effect they wanted to that it executed earlier on Hanamura, but it's still good adaptations to see.
Yeah, I love most of the things that comes out from Hurricane recently. I think they have a really interesting play style. The main thing that just worries me at the moment is there does seem to be a lot of overconfidence coming out from this team. A lot of fights where they lose because they make a mistake that they just shouldn't be making. If it comes down to compositional choices, if it comes down to the way that they use their ult economy. And the thing is that you can tell that this team doesn't normally use their ults like that. You can tell that. This is an amazing team, British Hurricane is. And again, they did exactly what AT did, which is underestimated 1Point, and 1Point took it to them with the draw and taking a map from them. That should never ever happen. It's lovely to see though 1Point getting some love here with some map wins on the board, as well as a draw taken from Hurricane, who were the ones to beat Morningstars, let's remember.
I think that under circumstances, you got to look at it and go, they could have walked away from this with a -4 scoreline, but they're walking away with a -1. So that's going to help them out down the line. They still haven't got a series win on the board, so they are currently sat at 0-3. But if they can keep that map difference high enough, it makes it a lot easier for them to still make playoffs, because only 2 teams will not make it into our playoffs this season, and they definitely don't want to be that, because you don't want to be going back down into trials.
No, and yeah, Hurricane are going to be towards the top. Sure,
yes, absolutely. They are currently matching the score lines of the likes of Giganti as well.
But I do think that this is not the way to play the matches, to be fair. This is not the way. As one of the top teams at the moment, rivaling Giganti, it is very close right now. Losing maps and drawing to a team like 1Point who's been picked apart over the past couple of weeks, the fact that they've had such success despite major changes to the roster is incredible. an incredible boon and Nils Hase to the actual coaching staff, the back staff members.
Well, now that Colsty's finally allowed to coach rather than actually being a main tank player.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's really, really good for them. And I'm glad to see it.
Well, we're going to keep on, obviously, performing as the weeks go on. It's not the last we see of these teams because we have got a slightly longer season than usual than what we had last year. We went from having a 5-week group stage to now having
a
7-week group stage, and of course, playoffs come after that. We are just trying to wait, and hopefully going to get an interview on the line here in a second, but we need to wait until that's confirmed for us. But Blank, Hurricane, like you said, a few issues coming in there with what we expect to be a superior team, but the new additions in the form of getting Chubbs back into this roster. We haven't seen Zik played for OnePoint as well. It is showing a bit of potential because, like you said, when we think that Hurricane are giving over opportunities for OnePoint to take control of the map and take maps off of them, they are capitalizing on them. They're not floundering, and they are putting up resistance when it comes down to certain map types. So there's a lot of potential in this OnePoint roster if they can just stay together and not make any roster changes for a couple of weeks.
They can just do that.
Yeah, we might see some conclusive progress coming out from them.
Yeah, I mean, every single time the rosters have come together, OnePoint have performed fairly well. And this is a team that, to be fair, we all thought was not going to do very well this season. And not because the players on the team aren't good, but just they haven't had enough time to gel with one another. The synergy isn't quite there. But already we're seeing these guys pull out these wacky comps like the May and making it work. And we have to talk about one player on OnePoint, right? And that's Tech36. Sure, the guy makes some minute mistakes now and again, but a lot of times he elevates this team to new heights. Really, he is basically like a ladder for OnePoint to climb up the rungs. And he plays really well, really well. And there is that constant pressure on the Diva Matrix coming out from him. You saw how whenever Tech36 was there as the Diva, you saw how incredibly scared Suna played, almost so cautious with that Graviton.
Yeah, so unfortunately, not going to have that interview for you today.
Sorry,
it happens sometimes, but that's, of course, going to close out this week of action. So we're going to put up the standings for you just to see how that looks in a second. But, Black, good week of action so far. Some ups, some downs, bit of a mix of action. Something happened there. Not quite sure what.
We're not the standings.
Yeah, thankfully.
We are standing,
There we go. Now we're going to see them. So, like we said, OnePoint are sitting at 0-3, but they have managed to get that -8 map difference. So they've got a 3-game buffer between Young and Beautiful. But it's the 4-game difference between Shoes Money Crew that matters at the moment because they need to be at least 6th to have a chance at playoffs.
Again, like you said, though, this is a longer season, so there is more time available for them to move themselves up within here. There's Eternal Academy, Shoes Money Crew on the list there right now that I believe that OnePoint could take the victories over. Eternal Academy, however, are looking much stronger in the past couple of weeks. It's almost as if their coaching staff was the same as Gigantic.
Yeah, but is that development time or is that the caliber opponents? Because they had the toughest first 2 weeks. They had Morningstars and Giganti back-to-back.